First of all, we heard that you started your career in the low ranks of Coca-Cola, and then you rise to the top to become president, and then again to become president of Mexico. What has been your story from the beginning to keep you motivated through the days? Could you tell us about that first, job that you had, and what kept you motivated to keep on going to the top?
Well, first of all, is what we're nourished with at home and in school. That has a lot to do with what we can be in life in the future. But more than that is when we go within ourselves, when we get awareness and we learn about the great potentiality, the great resources that we all human beings have, and especially when we discover our leadership. People that don't do that exercise, they go through life in mediocrity. So it's absolutely necessary that you and everybody that is listening, that we go within ourselves, that we make sure that we are aware of how far we can go, and then put our objectives and our dreams very, very high, because we have the capacity to grow up to that level. Even if it's the stars, we will get there.
Thank you. Today, you challenge the audience with the need to live life with a purpose. With that in mind, what would you like to inspire from brands and marketers and retailers that are influencing and serving the U.S. Latino consumer? What purpose would you like to inspire them to drive?
I think one purpose is very clear on all corporations and all business leaders. Is to make profits, is to have a high return for the stockholders, is to conquer markets, is to service the consumers, and is to create jobs and wealth. That's great. But today's world demands from corporations and from leaders much more than that. And I know one case at Georgetown University, which we are associated with in Vicente Fox, and we're also associated with the Gallup Corporation, with the CEO, Jim Clifton, of Gallup Corporation. And what we are doing is making sure that we understand what people at the very end want. And it's not only a job, it's not only income. People want happiness, people want to have challenges and be successful, so many other things. And so corporations today have to be pretty well aware of that. It's not only providing a service, but it's committing with your customers and with the community of those customers. So we are creating this new, very relevant, high-top leadership position in corporations, which we're calling the CCO, the Chief Cultural Officer. So you have the CEO dedicated to markets, to profits, to serving consumers, and then you have the CCO dedicated with this social commitment of corporations to make sure that consumers, that communities are also served by these corporations. So I think that's exactly what is the future in this 21st century for corporations.
Thank you. One last question before you can go. Today, you talked about the great economic influence that Mexico has in the United States every year, and the negative effect of dividing these two great nations by building walls. As marketers that believe in the power of the U.S. Latino market, we still need to drive this message and turn our organizations into believers of this message, but sometimes numbers is not enough. You had to influence a nation in your career. What are some tips and pointers that you can give the marketers and the retailers in this room as they go back to the organization so that they can drive this message beyond the numbers?
I guess this change of paradigm in this great nation, moving from openness and globalization, we all were taught, all other nations, from this leading nation to open our markets, to open for investment, and to work all together. It's sad that now this nation is speaking the language of isolation. It's building walls. I mean, how can a leader build walls? Where are the Andrew Groves going to be coming from, the president of Intel, and all those many other brains that have come as immigrants to this nation? So this nation has to open up the eyes to the future and keep the philosophy and the values of the founding fathers of this nation. But at the same time, instead of building walls, we should be building bridges, bridges of understanding, bridges of trading, bridges of exchange, bridges inclusively of love, of compassion, so that we can conform blocks that are successful, that are competitive, that accomplish the dream on this 21st century.